Just have your back, don't look back. Give all the dollars, you know, a fake heart attack. 'Cause you were made for this. You can feel it inside your bones. You were made for this, and it's time you let the world know who you are, what you know. It's happening right now, so
안녕하십니까? That means hello in Korean. Hi folks, I'm Sergu. I'm one of the CEOs of Kakao Corporation, and it's a great pleasure to be standing here today. I have to start off with an apology. If you guys look in the brochure, it says 10 things that helped us grow, but while preparing the presentation with my staff, we got stuck at number 4. So I only have 4 things to deliver you, and I'm really sorry about that. Just for those folks who don't know Kakao, we have an instant messenger service called Kakao Talk, which I'll explain in a little detail later on. So, 4 lessons. 4 lessons. And lesson number 1 is learn from failure. I read in the news earlier this year that on Google Play, last year alone, there were 650,000 applications, services that were uploaded to Google Play. And 400,000 of them didn't get even 1 download. So, starting up, as a startup, the chances of you succeeding in the first effort is very, very slim, to be realistic. And so you're going to run into failures. And if you leave that failure as a failure and don't rebound, it will just remain as a failure. But you have to learn from those mistakes. And if you take away the right messages, the right lessons, that will be a key success factor in your future. And that's what happened to us also, for Kakao Corporations. We were founded 7 years ago, and during the first 3 years, we ran into some failures of ourselves, but we managed to come away with some lessons of our own. The lessons that we learned, number 1 was speed. You have to be quick, and also you have to listen to users. An example. When we first founded our company back in 2006, we had about 12 employees. All of them were very experienced, seasoned software engineers. And we thought we could make a successful global service. And so we spent a whole year trying to develop a great service that will be a hit, instant hit. And we came up with something called Brew.com. It's a social bookmarking service. We launched it in 2007 after a whole year of preparation. Has anybody heard about that? Anybody used Brew.com? Hence the failure. Yes, nobody knew about the service. We launched it for 3 months. We only got a few thousand users. And so we started again. And for another whole year, we prepared and prepared. And we came up with a service called Wizia.com. It's a social ranking service. People put up questions, they put up answers, and people vote on which answer they think is the most correct answer. And so you have a ranking of the correct answers from number 1 to number 10. Sounds like a great idea, right? Has anybody used this service? Or even heard about this service? No! Nobody used the service. So, the lessons, the 2 lessons that we walked away from this is, number 1, you have to be really fast. You have to get the product, the service out on the market before the tide changes. But we spent a whole year trying to come up with the ultimate, the perfect service. And with those 2 lessons, we started Kakao Talk back in 2010, and that eventually helped us promote that service. Lesson number 2, It's about people. Great people make great services, and especially in this IT industry, you need very talented software engineers. Kakao was very lucky to start off. Oops, sorry. Kakao, when it started off, had various competitors. First of all, you have SMS, right? You have SMS, and then WhatsApp was out there on the market about a year ahead of us. And then when we launched, various large corporations like Naver, SK Telecom, they all came up with these chatting services. It's very easy to make for those of you who are familiar with these type of services. But it's not just about coming up with the service, it's how you operate the service and what kind of engineering skills back up the services. And so from the beginning, we had seasoned engineers who have dealt with a large volumes of data. And our competitors were kind of following us until a certain volume of messages were sent out, and then they had various technical difficulties that distanced us from these other companies. And so we were able to overcome those technical difficulties thanks to these very talented engineers. It seems like a very basic and logical conclusion, but you know, I would very much put a lot of effort to hiring quality engineers right from the get-go. Another thing is culture. A lot of startups that start in Silicon Valley, it's only natural to them to have a very open culture, because the American culture itself is very open. Everything is flat. Everyone is equal. But especially in Asia, the Confucian tradition, Korea, for instance, has a very strong tradition of hierarchy. And especially the title that they use in a corporation has social significance. So if you're just a plain employee and one day you become a manager, that's a really big deal. Your social status is uplifted to the level of manager, and people congratulate you, not just people at work, but also your family, your friends. They look upon that as a promotion. So there's a built-in hierarchy within Korean society that make it very hard to communicate on a plain level. So what we tried is to adopt a bit of an American culture, have people use American names. So everybody has an English name, including myself. I like to drink wine, and so my name is Vino, wine for Italian. I just like to drink, to be honest, but you know, it's more fancy to say I like wine. So it seems like a very small change, just using English names, but that small change allowed us to talk to each other on a very level, horizontal field. That made communication very easy. Also, we have an internal bulletin board system, which is one of our services that we offer to the public, called Ajit. All our information is open to all of our employees. So an engineer, for instance, can go into the designer's room and see what they're doing. They can leave comments. There are no secrets within the company, so everybody knows what they're doing. There is an inherent risk to that. Sometimes people leak information to the outside, and you have newspaper reports about what services we're planning to do in the near future. But in spite of those risks, I think it's very important to share information with your employees and let them know that they have the power to look into what kind of things we're doing, and we encourage people to leave their comments and insights for other employees. So this is also a very strong factor that helped us grow.
And this interaction with our users, I mentioned one of the lessons that we learned was to listen to our employees, to listen to our users and not try to guess what they want. We have a very strong communication with our users, and this really built a very strong loyalty with our users. And so most of the functional improvements that we have incorporated into our service during the past 3.5 years, I would say about 98% of them came from our users. We run this cycle on a regular basis. We receive various comments from our users, and we try to adopt that into our services. And so there's a natural evolvement of the services with our users, and this loyalty attaches very naturally because our users see their recommendations being reflected into that service. And so it's an ongoing process that we make together with our users. And so when we started our MVOIP service last June, there was a fierce resistance from the local telcos, because when we started our service 3.5 years ago, the SMS revenue of the telcos really dramatically dropped. And with that bad experience, the local telcos were very afraid that when we started a voice service, that would eat into their voice revenue. And so there was a huge debate last June in Korea when we launched Voice Talk, our MVOIP service. There was strong resistance from the telcos and even from the government, who had a very strong connection with the local telcos. But our users really cared about us. They left a lot of comments on social SNS. And it was thanks to them that really turned the tide to look positively on OTT services like us. Unfortunately, we haven't made much progress because there's still certain restrictions on the MVOIP services that we are offering right now, but there's certainly public opinion which is in our favor, thanks to our loyal users. So, where do we stand now? We have globally about 120 million registered users, and 32 million of them use our services every day. So that's a very active service that's being used. And what really sets us from other services is that each and every day we manage to support 5.2 billion messages being sent and received over KakaoTalk. If you consider and compare that with the telcos in Korea, the 3 major telcos, they used to service about 300 million a day. So that's about 20 times more in terms of volume of communications that's going on in Korea. So now, with a successful launch of the services, we are trying to transform ourselves from an instant messaging service into a social platform, a social platform that is tailored to the mobile environment. And in the core of this platform strategy is our social graph. It's the KakaoTalk friend relationship that has built through the KakaoTalk services. On average, each KakaoTalk user has about 180 friends. And from these friends, you can spread various content and various services. Last year, we launched games. Nobody thought that instant messaging services and games could match. So when we first launched the service, there was very little interest. Nobody wanted to offer their games through KakaoTalk, but it became an instant hit. And why is that? It's because of the 180 friends that people have that they recommend the games, they send various game items, and so it really spread like wildfire. We also have a service called Kakao Story. It's a separate application from KakaoTalk, but you can link into your KakaoTalk friend story page through KakaoTalk. And it's that small link that really activated the spread of Kakao Story. It's an Instagram-like service where you post pictures of you and your family, and you can leave replies underneath. We got about 10 million downloads within 9 days, and now we're up to 50 million users within about a year of service. So using the social graph, we're trying to spread new content, new services. We've had successes. We also have had failures, but I think we're at the forefront of experimenting with these different types of services to see how far we can go as a mobile platform. And with that, I would like to thank the organizers of Startup Asia Jakarta for inviting me today, and I hope the 4 things I talked about today will be helpful to running your business in the future. Thank you very much.